If you're working at a SaaS company as a product manager, a UX designer, or as a developer, this one is for you. Does this sound familiar? An urgent feature request from a high-value client? Or did the sales team give you a new feature to beat the competition? And the scariest of all, did the user report a bug that impacts the entire product's functionality? Hi, I'm Varun, a designer here at Tcules UX Design Studio. I specialize in designing experiences for SaaS products of different sizes, scales, and industries. Every team I've worked with had their own way of building and maintaining their SaaS products. However, there is one common challenge that every team has faced, that is urgent feature requests. Being a UX designer, I have often been at the receiving end of these last-minute feature requests. The way this usually works is that the PM learns about the urgency and then involves me in solving the problem, of course without creating new ones. Now, in a normal product design cycle, one would have enough time to understand, research, analyze, and then solve the problem in design. However, for an urgent feature request, the response is very different. This video is an attempt to provide greater visibility into how UX designers respond to these urgent feature requests. Please note that this is not to suggest the best way to respond, but how we respond. And hopefully, designers and product managers working with designers would find this helpful. To demonstrate these possible different approaches, we grouped some of the UX designers here into two teams of 3 each. Given our recent and extensive exposure working with generative AI tools, we gave them a challenge to improve SurveyMonkey, a tool that is already a global leader for creating and sending surveys. SurveyMonkey already uses AI to generate questions for the survey. But imagine this, you can create questions using prompts but cannot tweak them later with AI? Well, we are planning to change that. These were the use cases given to the teams. Use case 1. Enable users to modify the writing style of all questions using AI prompts, like switching from active to passive voice. Use case 2. Allow users to select specific questions for this style modification, but not just all questions. And use case 3. Going beyond simple rephrasing, we also want to let users change the response data types for each question. Here are the deliverables they should have, ideally. A breakdown of the use cases with appropriate prioritization, a written solution to the use cases, information architecture or documentation of the user journey per use case, and a user interface presenting the above IA and user journey. Let's take a look at what they've done. Okay, so here team 1 is working on figuring out the sub-use cases inside each use case, and it looks like they're trying to identify what other actions would the user take while carrying out the first task. While team 2 here is defining the combined task flow for use case 1 and use case 2. Now, team 1 is working on the basic information architecture of the UI elements so that the rest of the team can start building those components. And team 2 is also doing something similar. They're discussing what UI components would be used on what screen. So this is interesting. Even though both of the teams are doing pretty much the same thing, team 1 is assigning team members a part of the design process and team 2 is assigning team members an area of the product to work on. So essentially, each team member of team 1 will do a specific part of the design process for all touchpoints of the user journey, and each team member in team 2 will do all parts of the design processes for a specific touchpoint of the user journey. Let's see how this works out for both of them. I see that they've already started designing the UI now. Team 1 is focused on one type of the screen, that is the questions edit screen. And the information architecture looks like it is more about the feature and its UX instead of just changing the voice, response type, or even spelling. While team 1 is doing that, here team 2 is focusing on solving the given use cases first and then expanding that into making a more general feature. While one of them is working on the change voice feature, the other one is working on the change response type feature. The difference in their approaches brings an interesting point about how they have prioritized their resources. Team 2 is focusing on solving the specific use case first as fast as possible and then refining later. While team 1 seems to be working on a refined version of the feature that will help them implement it with more clarity later on. Both these approaches stem from how they see their goals and initial requirements. If the product manager wants to implement something quickly without fleshing it out to other areas of the product, then team 2's approach is better. But if the product manager wants to cover multiple use cases within a single implementation, then team 1's approach is much better. Since the focus of this activity is not UI fidelity, but the fidelity of the solution, both teams are making sure the solutions work well before matching it to the current brand style and making the UI prettier. Team 1's implementation is a more scalable feature implementation that could be used to add other things as well in the future. Since a minimal amount of new UI elements have been added, the front-end feasibility of this is high. At the same time, Team 2's solution is specific to changing the voice and has been implemented in 2 locations of the product, on the survey preview screen and the survey edit screen. The implementation also has high front-end feasibility. Regardless of the different approaches, there are valuable solutions from each team that could be brought together to come up with one final proposition. So this was it, guys. I hope through this exercise, you were able to see the different approaches and how they can work for different product strategies. For more content like this, don't forget to subscribe and follow us on our social media.